going to do a little bit of breath work to start. So just make yourself comfortable, whatever your best seated position. Sit up on a blanket or a block. Just do whatever you need to do and come into your breath. I'm going to lead us through a couple of rounds of Kapalabhati breath just to build some energy and fire. That's the breath of fire. Have you done it before? Yes. So it's that one where we're pumping on the exhale. Very short inhale, if anything. The lungs just fill up. Really is nice to build fires. I'm going to count 3 rounds of 10. You can just let me count it for you if you want. But the main thing is don't let yourself get dizzy or feel strained. As soon as it feels weird, just stop and natural breath. But we'll give it a try. So take a nice, maybe halfway in inhale and begin the pumps. Okay, that's a 30. If you didn't make it, we'll just rest for a minute. Try one more round of that. I can hear your breath. It sounds like a good, strong exhale. Couple natural breaths just to settle. One more time. So inhale. That's good. 2 rounds of 30. Start feeling warm. And then, like I said, we're going to do some vinyasas, a little bit of focus on the feet. So here's something I like to do. It's called a toe stretch, toe ankle stretch. And depending on how stiff you are, it may be hard, but come to your knees and curl the toes. That's the main thing. You want the toes to get stimulated. You want to bend the toes back. Yep. And you're going to just decide how much pressure you can put on it. I usually sit up like this, the full weight of the body on those toes. It's very owie. You may want to stay a little forward and just breathe into opening the bottoms of those feet, curling those toes. It's we have a lot of meridian energy centers there, so it's good to get them stimulated. A few breaths here. I do this every day because I have arthritis in my feet, and it's always intense for me. So, and then the other version of it, to stretch the top of the feet, is go ahead and flatten them out like we normally do. I know you can't sit all the way back, but you can just press those feet, the top of those feet into the floor, and take as much weight back to open those ankles and feet as you can. Come at it if you need to. This is actually a very open part in my body, so I actually come up to stretch the front of the ankles. But for a lot of people, just trying to flatten out those feet is plenty of work. And we'll come onto our knees, continue to warm up. But so here's our all 4 position for cat-cow. But let's be aware of the top of the feet. Actually get stability if we can learn to press the feet into the ground. Same time we're pressing our hands into the ground, give yourself a little bit of downward pressure on the top of those feet and begin your cat-cows. Inhale, let the spine arch. Exhale, let it round. And just tuning into the breath and the body. Finding your own rhythm. I usually start nice and slow. Maybe even a little pause at the top of the inhale. A little pause at the bottom of the exhale. Now come back to neutral. And we're going to try something that tests the feet and tests the balance a little bit. So curl the toes as if we were coming into a down dog. We're not going to come into a down dog. We're actually just going to push back over the feet and let the knees come up to the chest. Yep, good. Feeling it in the feet, Carl? Yes. Okay, good. Come on down. Couple like that. Curl the toes, press into the toes. Let the knees rise if they can. So it's kind of a cat-cow action, but we're bringing the legs and feet into it a little bit more. A couple more times. Exhale, really arch the back, raise the knees, and boy, you should feel it down into those feet. One more time. Good job. Now let's try a spinal balance here. So we're back to the flat feet, the tops of the feet pressing into the ground. Let the right arm come forward and let the left leg come back. And just notice how the balance is improved if we use the whole part of the leg on the floor, even the top of that foot, and then just lower down. Nice little cat-cow here, sometimes relieves the back, so look up. And that spinal balance on the other side, so press the left foot into the floor. Let the right foot come back. If your balance is there, lift that opposite arm and just feel the spine have to engage to support the body. Back down. Little cat-cow in the middle here. One more time like that. So this time, the left leg's going to come back, the right arm will come forward, and just feel all the little adjustments the body's doing for this 2-point balance. Right leg back, left arm forward, or whatever side you're on. Stimulating both sides of the back. There you go. Now curl those toes. We'll do a vinyasa here to even everything out. Curl the toes. This time lift the knees and let it extend all the way up into our down dog. Just breathe there, a couple breaths, kind of finding where you're needing a little opening, send the breath there. We'll do a vinyasa, so just find your plank. I'm going to lower my knees, slowly lower to the ground. Chaturanga all the way down to the floor. Now let's do our version of a back bend. And you're still warming up, so come up to Cobra. But what I'd like you to feel is the pressure at the top of the foot, pressing into the floor, that action is needed for the full up dog, where we actually raise our hips off the floor. If you're not there yet, just play with that pressure and curl the toes and come back to a down dog. The regular vinyasa, we're just trying to feel what's happening and how the feet and the bottom legs can help support the upper body as we do this vinyasa. So forward to plank, knee up or knee down vinyasa, lowering to the floor. As we come up into the back bend, press the top of the feet into the floor. See if you can get enough action in the legs to get a nice high up dog or high cobra. Good. Curl the toes. Press back, down dog. So this vinyasa series pretty much works every single part, every single joint in the body. Sometimes it's easy to forget about those feet. I'm just going to bring a little bit of focus there. Now go ahead, come down to the knees. Bring that right leg forward into a lunge. So this is our knee down lunge. And just enjoy it for a minute. Just look at that front leg. Make sure it's nice and supported. And the back leg getting a little bit of opening in that back hip. Notice our foot is flat. So try to press the top of that foot into the ground and see if you can raise your leg. Very strong stretch. Yep, lower the knee. One more like that. Press the foot. Stimulate that ankle, top of the foot, and lower down. And we'll come out of it. Just bring that leg back. And we'll finish the vinyasa lower down. Cobra or up dog. Up dog requires a lot of strength in the legs. Pressing the top of the feet into the floor. Curling the toes. Raising the hips. There's our down dog. We'll do that on the left side. So we're just going to lower our knee. Do whatever we need to do to get the left leg forward. Nice low lunge here. The hands can stay on the floor. I usually kind of come up on my fingertips, which is also very stimulating for the hands. And then press the top of the foot into the floor and see if you can raise the knee, whatever amount. You're gonna pulse there a few times. Press, raise, strong lunge, yeah. Press, raise. And we'll do our little vinyasa. So starting from the knees, lower down to the floor, chaturanga. And then we'll come up to our biggest back bend, pressing our feet, letting the whole body get activated by pressing the feet into the floor. Now come to a down dog. We usually stop and roll the toes. You can actually flip them over as part of that action, keeping it as smooth as we can. Oh. Your feet should be nice and stimulated. Whole leg, yeah. And we'll just make our way to the front of the mat. I'm just gonna walk forward, right, left. Come to this forward bend on the mat. Just keep your knees soft. Back to your legs aren't open yet, and we're just gonna pulse here. Coming to a nice straight spine. Looking forward and then letting go, round spine. So it's a half forward bend, full forward bend. Here's the half forward bend. You can support yourself on your shin or your thighs. Release it. One more like that. Straighten the spine, really engage the legs, press the feet into the floor. All the way down. And then rise up. Upward salute, raise mountain. Just look up. Bring your hands to your heart and just feel the standing posture for a few breaths. Good. So we'll flow here in some standing poses, starting with kind of a variation of the Sun Salutation B, which starts in chair. So find your chair. Your feet can be a little bit apart or together, and just sit back in that chair. Seeing where you feel stable. Bring the arms wherever they feel good. Maybe almost just forward, maybe all the way up, maybe stronger. We're going to try a couple of Kapalabatis here in this chair pose. So just take an inhale. And we're going to 10 Kapalabhati. Good. That's very energizing. We'll go into the vinyasa, forward bend. Straight spine, half forward bend. And then let that right leg come back. Coming into plank, left leg come back. You decide whether you want your knees up or down. Lower down to the floor, elbows nice and close to the side body. Uncurl those feet. Press the top of the feet into the floor and find your up dog or high cobra. Good. Curl the toes. Let that foot support the lift of the knees, the lift of the buttocks. Find your down dog. We won't hold this one. We'll just come to nice full down dog and bring the right leg forward into our warrior. So the right leg comes between the hands. Left leg finds a nice warrior angle, allows us to lift up over that front leg. Here we are in warrior one. You got it. Open out to the side, find your warrior two. You got it, I see the adjustment. You want that knee heading towards the outside of the foot, perfect. And energy down that back leg as well. Here we go, and we'll just complete the vinyasa. So let the arms come down to the floor. The left leg, we're coming up on our toes. Plant the hands, find the plank. We'll vinyasa here. Lower to the floor. Press the top of the feet. Let the back arch. On the in-breath. And then curl the toes. Let them support the body as it comes back to a down dog. We'll do that on the other side. So here's our warrior one, left foot forward. Make sure you're stable. As soon as both feet feel very connected, use that energy down the legs to rise up. Warrior one. Make sure that knee's not collapsing inward. Make sure that back leg is fully engaged. And then open out. hips kind of come to the side of the mat. Nice and long. Warrior two. Hold that front knee a little bit more outside. There you go. That's just to protect the knee and also much stronger in the hips. And then helicopter the arms down. We're going to vinyasa just one more time. Find the plank. Lower down. Uncurl those feet. Press them. And let the legs support an up dog or a cobra of your choice. And down dog to let everything settle and open. Just lower the knees, Carl, and let yourself rest in a child pose. That's a lot of work. We'll just release the back, release tension in our hips. And you're not able to bring your hips all the way to your heels, that's fine. Just use this shape. Walk the arms forward a little bit and just stretch out that back even if the hips are up. Okay. You doing okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'd like us to try a little bit of dolphin. There's a series that I do. We'll see how it goes. Dolphin, we can get into it from our knees. Dolphin's the one where our forearms are on the ground. So you actually drop down your forearms. Yeah. So dolphin, I'll demonstrate, is really like a forearm down, down dog. And it's very strong on the shoulders. So go ahead and raise the hips and see how that feels. You feel it strongly in your shoulders. Just lower the knees to come out of it. We'll pulse into it a couple times. Now some people, Carl, actually feel a little more stable with the hands more coming together at an angle. So you kind of have to play around with it. I'm working, this alignment of the shoulder is critical if we ever want to do a handstand. So I'm trying to keep my arms parallel, but you might bring your hands in a little bit and just raise those hips into that down dog. The closer you walk your feet towards your elbows, the more you're getting the alignment that will eventually bring you to a handstand. So just kind of find where your limit is, breathe into it, and then lower the knees. We'll do one more, just because we're gluttons. Find your dolphin. Really let those shoulders broadly open. And walk in and just see what your limit is for coming up over those arms. Good. You can kind of feel how that would be a base of support if you ever wanted to lift your legs. In fact, try lifting your legs. We'll do one more just because you looked very stable there. You can rest your arms for a minute. We'll come to one more. Just lifting into like a a 3-point down dog. So you can sort of feel how the front body, yeah. It's hard. Don't hurt yourself. That elbow down alignment in dolphin really teaches our shoulders where they need to be if it was ever going to support our body weight. Try it one more time. We're just learning. Yep. And then lift the leg real slowly. Yeah. Maybe lift the other leg. Good job. Come on back. You can come out of it kind of on your knees and just, wow, there you go. Just sit back. In fact, we'll come to seated from here. What you were doing nicely, Carl, I wish I were there, I could even see it better, but what our tendency is in dolphin, I'll just demonstrate for a second, is if we don't have the strength, our elbows will sort of flare out. And that's a much less stable. Our most stable position is with our elbows pretty narrow, and you are keeping them nice and parallel. So if you ever practice dolphin, just keep those elbows kind of aiming in towards each other. And as you narrow your stance in the down dog, one day, maybe in this lifetime, maybe not, all of your body weight will be right over your shoulders into the floor, and we can just float up. I can't do it, but it's something, to work on that teaches our shoulders that. So we'll do our little core series, starting on our sits bones with our knees bent. I know you've done this with me before. We're gonna see if we can balance on our sits bones, and just find our peak. Our peak might be pretty low, yep, you got it, or even a little bit straighter in the legs, holding on or letting go and just breathing, trying to keep that V-shaped alignment in the torso. It's almost like the same feeling in the core as the Kapalabhati. The core is sort of contracted and lifted upwards. And when we want to come out of it, we just lower the legs. And let the spine stretch out, easing the lower back. We'll do that 2 more times. Just take it at your own pace. Test your core, test your back. No collapsing, staying high. Can I let go even for a second? Forcing my core to really contract and hold that body erect. I usually go for 5 breaths. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. Your cue is when you start feeling strain in your lower back. It's time to give your back a rest. We'll eventually get stronger. Last time, find our balance, find our peak. Now I'm going to try to go to the half boat. This just means I'm trying to widen the V, but you kind of learn where you can maintain it and just let go when you reach failure in the core, because you don't want the tension to go to your back. Just lying on the floor, we're going to stretch our arms overhead and just let the whole front body get nice and long. Soften the belly now, let it actually pump on the inhale, so it's nice and soft again. Let the hands come down onto the floor by the hips, palms down. It's kind of a little bridge work we're going to do here. So we work the front part of the body, now we're going to work the back of the spine and the whole leg and hip area in these bridges. So I like to start with a couple bridge rolls where I just test out my back, I press my feet into the floor, flatten the back and let the hips come up, but not as high as they can go, just working on getting that pelvic tilt, and then roll it down. All this is nice and slowly. We feel the spine, vertebra by vertebra on the floor. Yeah. One more like that. Just press, tilt the pelvis, the pubic bone kind of tilts up toward the ceiling. Lift the hips, maybe a little bit higher. And roll the spine down. See how slowly and carefully you can let the spine come to the floor without flopping down at any point. There you go. And then the third time, we're going to try to get to our peak bridge. So we lift the hips as high as they can go. Kind of in our this little reverse plank. Very good. Try to force the knees to kind of not flail out. You got it. A lot of stability there. And if you can work your shoulders even further under and hold for a few breaths. Very strengthening for the back body. And then let the hands go if they're under the body. Let the spine roll down. Upper back, mid back, lower back, as if we could touch each vertebra. There you go. When you're finally rolled out, just let the legs come to the chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Find a good hold and let that back get long. And we'll use this recline position to stretch out our legs. So let the left leg come along on the mat. We're going to keep a hold of that right leg into the chest. Really, we're just trying to position that leg to stretch up towards the ceiling. So maybe hold on to the back of your thigh. No, the bent leg, the right leg. Yeah. Just let it develop up towards the ceiling. Really give yourself a nice flexed foot. So it's stretching out the back of the leg and the Achilles. And how about a couple ankle rolls here? Always feels good. So make little circles with the foot in one direction. And then change directions. Slower is better here. Nice. Trying to draw the full circle with that leg. Now see where you can hold onto your leg to support. It's easier if you can reach your foot. You might try reaching your foot and bending your knee, but we're going to open the leg out. So I'm going to kind of see if I can help you. See if you can open it out to your right side, yeah. While still keeping that left hip anchoring into the mat, and it's just stretching that inner leg, groin. Good, and then let it come up, center again, and we're actually gonna go clear to the other side. So yeah, now your hip's gonna raise just like that. The arms can come out like a T. That's going to stabilize and see, and just let that leg kind of find its lowest point where you're stretching out the side of the buttocks and also getting a nice spiral in the back. Does that feel okay? Okay. A few breaths here. And then let the leg come back up to center. The straighter the knee is, the longer the stretch in the back of the leg, but sometimes it's just safer to work with a little micro bend in that knee. And walk yourself up the leg. Let your head come towards the leg so the upper body raises off the floor. And just get your max stretch here, which is also very good for the spine. And then let that leg float down to the floor. I like to take a little mini shavasana here for a minute. Just let everything flop and release. And do nothing for a couple breaths. do that series without a leg. Now you can work with a belt with this series, but I think you're doing fine. But what happens with a belt sometimes is we put a little too much effort into it. As long as you can find a place to hold your leg, I like the way you're doing it, Carl. Go ahead and let that left leg band into the chest. That helps release the back of the buttocks and the hip flexor. And then finding a holding place, maybe on the back of the thigh, and stretch that leg up towards the ceiling to your degree. The knee may be a little soft. You might be able to straighten the knee a little bit more, and we're going to do those ankle circles when we're kind of peaked with our leg. Draw 3 or 4 circles in one direction, and then 3 or 4 circles in the other direction. And then we use this reclined position to stretch the inner leg, the inner groin. I'm gonna grab my foot. You're probably gonna grab maybe the inside of your thigh, however high you can get. Just begin to open that leg to the side, letting the opposite arm come down to stabilize. You're working nicely, you're not pushing it down, you're just kind of letting it open to its degree. That's the point. Just try to find that max mobility that we have. Just go to that edge and let it open, and then raise it back up. You can switch arms, because now you're gonna support yourself. Hold the leg with your right hand, let the hip come off, and let it just roll all the way to the side. You can use the wall. I often use my wall where I just kind of let it hang there. You should still feel it in the IT band on the side of the hip. Good job. Walls can be very helpful. And then find the inhale and the strength to raise the leg back up to that high stretch position. And we're gonna try to bring our forehead to our knee, walk up the leg, and let the back round and get a nice, complete stretch down the back of that leg. And let it float down. Another little mini Shavasana, just let everything go. Now I'm gonna watch it. Like what I had planned here is a little bit of a reclined cobbler, a reclined butterfly. I want to make sure it's not too harsh on your knees, but go ahead and bend, let your feet come together and bend the knees. I think your video kind of froze, so there you go. And lie down on your back in that shape. Now how does that feel? Is that too much strain on your knees or your hips?
Look, it's fine.
Okay, just breathe there for a minute. Just let that shape help open those hips. Some people really find this intense. We actually, in a studio, we would use something under the knees so they're not overly heavy, but you look good. I'm just gonna stay here almost like a full minute. Let those hips open out. begin to come out of it, we want to come out like super slow motion. Sometimes I even like help myself, let my arms help my legs come back together. Little by little, the hips will neutralize. So that's an external rotation of the hips, and to re-neutralize them, we're going to do an internal rotation by letting the feet walk wide, maybe to the side of the mat, yeah, and let the knees just kind of aim towards each other. And the distance of your feet is going to be very individual, so you might bring your feet in a little bit, Carl. Yep, you got it. Your knees are just hanging together, letting those hips rotate in the other direction. Windshield the legs a little bit. So if you bring your feet back more hip distance, so your feet are flat on the floor, your knees are parallel to the hips, and let both knees fall to the right. Yet they'll separate just like that, and then bring them up through center and let both knees fall to the left, and they'll separate. Little windshield, and just back and forth. Keep going right and left. It massages the back. At the same time, it kind of releases those deep tissues that got stretched. Little windshield. End with a back release, our last active pose. We'll bring both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze for a moment. And then let the knees come wide. So they're kind of aiming towards the armpits or to the side floor. And let the feet come up towards the ceiling. We're coming into happy baby. So you may know where your good hold is. I hold my feet in that happy baby. That may be too much for you. Good. And just hold that happy baby for a minute. Several breaths. And you can sort of play around with it. I like to feel like a baby here and sort of roll side to side. Find some motion in the hips and in the back. Or it might feel good to just find stillness and keep pressing those knees down. You might press in enough that you actually get a little lift in the hip. In the tailbone. The tailbone will kind of come off the floor. And then we're just going to make our way to Shavasana from here. So just lower yourself out of that happy baby pose. I like to do it nice and slowly so the feet come to the floor and then one leg stretches out. Other leg stretches out. See if you can tuck those legs into just completely relaxing. The feet will usually sort of flop. Let the arms come out. Palms up. Find ease in those shoulders. Let the neck be long and just back of the head pressing into the floor. The jaw relaxed. Just scan through the body. Any points of tension, just consciously let it go. We give ourselves the gift of doing absolutely nothing. Integrating all that work and the poses. And letting the mind just be focused nowhere, just focused on the infinite. If any particular thought or image comes into our mind, just look past it and let it go. No, I wanted to give you a nice long shavasana, but we can finish together. Find your comfortable seat. And just see if you can hold on to that sense of calm. We'll bring our hands to our heart and close with an Om. Namaste.